Friends, good afternoon, guys. Pallu is there. Okay, shall we start? Okay, speaker. Only countable number of students have joined. I'm admitting everybody. Done.
सर प्रॅक्टिकलचं कसं
प्रॅक्टिकलचं नंतर देतो.
सर बिना प्रॅक्टिकल काय कळलं ना हो
प्रॅक्टिकल
प्रोग्राम एक्झिक्यूट कुठं करायचं कसं करायचं काय माहित पाहिजे की
त्याच्यात काय 1 सेकंड मध्ये होते तेवढे 2 मिनिटात होते. तू काय टेन्शन घेऊ नको.
कुठं टाईप करायचं कुठं एक्झिक्यूट करायचं माहित पाहिजे नाही
ते 2 मिनिटात होते की
काय नोटपॅड मध्येच
सांगते की नंतर तुला आता येऊ दे. आता प्रॅक्टिकल चालू करायचं की
बरोबर
आवाज क्लिअर आहे हा?
चालतंय
एकदम आवाज क्लिअर आहे.
हा आहे की सर हा
मकानदार 9 मुलं 10 मुलं आहेत.
तेवढं सर टायमिंग झालं की दुपार आहे आता जेवण झोपले असतील घरघरीत
आता दुपारीच घेणार आहे मी सकाळी नाही.
चालतंय सोमवारपासून येणार आहे थोडं सर सगळी
होय
ते रिपोर्ट येऊ दे की रिपोर्टचं वेट करायला
तर कन्स्ट्रक्ट झालं ना काल कन्स्ट्रक्टर्स आणि ओव्हरलोडेड कन्स्ट्रक्टर्स व्हेरी
सर
सिम्पल.
काल मी जॉईन केलं तुम्ही मला ऍडमिटच केला नाही की आत
होय नाही रे
मी वेट बघून बघून मग घेऊन झालो
इथं करत असतो की मी कंटिन्युअस ऍडमिट करत असतो की असू दे ते काय सिम्पल.
खरं काल केला नाही बघा मी काल वेट करून सर हे झालो लिव्ह झालो
होय आता इथे एक्सप्रेशन करताना मध्ये आला काय तो 10-15 मिनिट वेळानं आला असणार.
हा सर जरा लेट झाला मला
कसं असतं एक्सप्रेशन करताना आमचं कॉन्सन्ट्रेशन तिकडे असणार आहे. इथं परत
बरोबर
दुसरीकडे जाऊन ऍडमिट करायला लागते. असू दे कन्स्ट्रक्टर्स अँड parameterized constructors last time we have discussed. Very simple, straightforward. This is the only simple experiment we have seen. Okay, this is a program going to demonstrate about default constructors. Okay, and parameterized constructors. Okay, so this is the name. This name and class name both are same. That's all. This is a constructor, and constructors used to initialize soon after the object is created. That's all. Okay, so this is not without any parameter, therefore this will be invoked. This is a welcome constructor. This is not having any parameter inside here. Yesterday we have seen what is the argument, what is parameter. Here this constructor has got one parameter, so therefore for this object, that is POBJ, that is parameter of the one variable I given name, and now this is the argument I am passing. So therefore, instead of calling this default, this parameterized constructor will be called. So initialization is done, and this is how it is displayed yesterday. I've discussed here. Done. Now this is over about constructors and overloaded constructors also we have seen. So this is what overloaded constructor, the same function with different prototype. This is also called as an overloaded constructor. So the same experiment is going to demonstrate both constructors and overloaded constructors. Finish. Now, about the static members also we have seen yesterday a small simple program here. And then the destructors we shall discuss today. I'll just admit everybody. Okay. Destructors is the opposite to constructors. So constructors are used to initialize the data variables, whereas destructors are used to destroy the object once you come out from the program automatically. Okay, that is garbage collector. One automatic module is there inside that will take care. So in order to release the memory, so that the memory can be utilized efficiently, Because in big project, what happen? It consumes more memory here. Okay, many modules will be running simultaneously, concurrently. If every module which is idle, which is not working, is not active, that might consume some memory here. Instead of consuming memory which is not useful further, we just release the memory so that the other modules can utilize the memory here. Because memory is very short here. Very less amount of memory is there in your computer or mobile. So therefore, that memory has to be effectively and efficiently utilized here. So once the object is not used further in the program or your project, that consumed memory by the object which is not used is released by the destructors here. Okay. Automatically there is a internally destructors are available that will take it. Destructor is opposite to constructor. It is the method called when an object is no more required. This term is very important. No more required. The name of the destructor is same as that of a class. So the same as that of your class. Then it is preceded by tilde symbol, tilde, tilde symbol, or tilde anta kaltare, tilde. Okay, done. That is it. So like same constructor, it is the destructor has no return type. So it is always similar to constructor. Only it is preceded with this particular special symbol that is tilde, okay, tilde, tilde symbol. C sharp manages the memory dynamically and uses garbage collector running on the separate thread to execute all the instructions. So this I think something taken care by garbage collector. As I told you, one module is there in the framework garbage collector. So that will take care. Dynamically it is going to release, allocate and release. That is done here by this garbage collector. Okay, of course, we can also write explicitly about destructors in the program. Okay, note that destructors takes no argument. Example sample code is given here. It is not taking any argument here. That's the big difference here. Constructors are taking some arguments here. You can see this constructor, this has got one argument here. Okay, whereas destructors no, because we are not utilizing any, data here. We're simply just releasing the memory. So this is a simple class fun. Okay, it starts here, it ends here, done. Inside some code is there. Okay, in that you will find some function fun. This the name of this is class and function is same, but this is preceded with the tilde symbol. Therefore, it is not constructor. It is destructor. If I remove this here tilde symbol, this is acting as a constructor now because this name fun and class name, if they are same, I call it as a constructor. Okay, now I make it destructor just by preceding it by say a special symbol tilde. So this is syntax. That's all. So destructors are preceded with the tilde character. Finish. So this is some body here. Actually, usually inside there won't be any instructors. Instructions inside. In the same way here, properties are used here. This is also to set and get the data members here. In order to initialize the data members, we can also use one more that is property, making use of this set and get special keywords here. I can initialize. One more thing, it is acting as if it is a constructor here. But in examination, they may ask you write a note on property. So during that time, this code you have to remember. Okay, and this is zoom it here. This code is very small. This is not the code, simple code. Okay. So this acts as if it's a constructor here. Like how we have used set data in the previous program, we used set data some user defined function or a member function that is used to set the data values here, values to some data members of a class. In order to get this, in order to print those values here, these we use instead of these two function here, I can use property that is called as set get. These are the keywords that we use here. Set is to set this. You can see here this program using system. That now number is the name of a class. In that I have one member, data member. Okay, that is integer number, which is private in nature. Now I have public int a number. You see here, this is acting as a property. It is acting as a property here. Okay, the property name is what a number. Usually we have some brackets here. Either a bracket is a function. Okay, now it is not a function, it is a property. This is only the thing here you have to remember. What exactly this property is going to do is that it is going to just set this number. Number is equal to value. Okay, how it is called, we will see later. So get what it is going to return. Get in the sense you are going to get it here. Set in the sense you are going to set some value here. That's all. Now you see This is what a property here. That how we can call this property? Let us see here. Okay, that class number is going to be ended here. Now, here main I have. Okay, main is also there in the class here. Property test one class, and then there is main here. In this, I have created one variable that is n. N is an instance of number type. So number is consisting one parameter because number is defined here. This is our number. It have some property here, set and get. And set is used to just initialize this value. Get is to simply return this number here. Finish. Set data, get data. The same function here, what we used here, same way. So instead of set data here, I just use keyword that is set. And to instead of that get data here, I just use get here. Okay. In set we initialize, and in get we use return key here. That's all. So how it is done in the main? Let us see here. N is an instance of number type, which is a property, and newly I'm creating here. This is how I just dynamically initialize. Okay, instantiate. I just had somebody entered here. That's it all. Now what I do is a number. A number is what? It is a function here. Okay, it is not a function, but it is a property because it is not following any opening and closing parenthesis, but it is a property. That is the difference between method and property. It is not following any opening and closing parenthesis here. That's the difference. Okay. Now, how should I call that? That is using this name of that property followed by respective object here. So n is now I'm calling this. So automatically 100 will be copied. So this is automatically called here. In that value which is passed here, that is 100, which is here. This 100 will be initialized to number. Finish. Okay, done. Now again I'm going to get that number. How do I call that? By using again number property of what? Object n. And now I'm calling here. I instead of that now get is called return number. So return value that is 100. This is everything replaced with that return value that is 100. So m is equal to 100. So that is printed here. Console right line. That is m here. So m is what? The newly 100 is printed. Okay. So set accessor method, this is also called as accessor method. Setter method is invoked. Used to write it is. It is used to write something into the instance variable. What about this get? It is a get accessor method. It is also called as getter method, which is invoked here. If I do that, that is get is invoked. If I do that, initialization, setter is uh, invoked, okay, which is used to write and read respectively. Now I'm going to print it here. So very simple. If any question arises on property here, so these properties are just used to set and get the data members of a class. Okay. One is to initialize, that is set here. One more property, that is get to return it. This is all about property here. That's all. If any question arises, this is what you have to write down as it is. Okay. No need to think much about it because we are not using this much property during the program. Just an idea. Finish. Now let us see about method overloading. Okay. Constructor overloading we have seen, that is overloaded constructor. The same way, same function is occurring in a program more than once with a different prototype. Okay, the prototype is different. Prototype in the sense the return type, the number of arguments are passed, and their order. Is it right? All this called as prototype here. Last time I think I discussed in detail about that prototype. Okay, any function has got its prototype. Prototype in the sense what is the return value? What is the name of a function? Inside the bracket parameters are there, arguments. How many number of arguments? Number. What type of data are there? Type of that. And what are the order? First integer, second float, third one character. Next order might be first float, second int, third character. So like that. Order is also, if small order is changed here, both functions are acting different here. So that is totally depending on prototype, patch. Therefore, method overloading. Okay. So this method overloading we use here to perform the similar operation for different parameters. The same operation I am doing here. I am finding a volume of a square. only one parameter I'm going to pass. I'm going to find volume of a rectangle. Two parameters I have. Number of parameters are two. But volume is the same function because I'm doing the same thing here. Calculation. I'm finding the volume of square. Object is different. I'm finding the volume again for rectangle. Object is different, but volume is same. So therefore, function is same. Parameters are different here, depending on the object here. So instead of giving different names, I just give one name. So that is a funda here, very simple. Instead of being getting confused here, let us see this small program and then we'll understand. That is there much. Let's see here. Method overloading. Method is a function overloading. Okay. Two or more than two. You can use this quote. Two or more than two method having the same name but different parameters. Okay, prototype and variable. Prototype. Different prototype is what we call type function loading. That's all. 1 mark or 2 marks question it is. Okay, define method overloading and give some small code. Anubhavam. Small code stay on the headline variable. Inside a class, you can give some function name and one more same function name with different parameters. That's all. So function overloading in C# can be performed by changing the number of arguments. See here, number, how many number are there? Volume of square require only one argument. If I know the side of a square, I can simply square it here. Square one side twice, that's all. Finish. If I want to find the volume of or area of volume or not volume, it is area of a rectangle. What happens? Two parameters. One is length and width or breadth. Sufficient. Okay, if I want to find the area of a triangle, I require again two parameters. One is base, the other one is height. So like that. If I want to find the area of a circle, only one, a radius is required, one parameter is required. So like that, number, the data type, and then order. Okay, these things are very important. That is also called as a prototype. Okay, of a method. So I mean to say is here volume. See, function is volume. This is int volume. It's name of function. So this is one function. One more function. It might be here float, or I can say same thing int. Name of the function I keep saying that is function overloading float. Okay. So now these two functions I call it as overloading. Function volume, here also volume, same thing. But this is overloading because this has got different prototype. This has got different prototype than this. Why? Because though integer return type is integer, it is also return type integer. Name is same. But here there is no argument. Here the one argument is there. Is it right? Now one more thing. You see here. Okay. This prototype is different. This volume prototype is different because return type is integer. Of course, it is integer. Name is same, name is same. But here, order is different. Here, number is same. Two number argument. Number, two number is there. That is matched here. Prototype matching. So for return type is matched. Name of the function, name, its matching is done. How many numbers are there? Two number. Here also two number. Number is matched here. Okay. And type is also matched. Here one is float, one is float, the other one is int. Everything is matched. Where it is false. Okay, it is failing in matching that order. So everything should match here. So now, therefore, these two I call it as different prototypes. Therefore, these things, number, how many number of arguments, everything should match here, data type and order. This is what an example I can give. Yeah, I will delete it. So for this here simple program, if any question asked on method overloading, this is what two lines you have to write down. In that number, data type and order you have to write down. It's called as prototype. Then respective method is invoked when a method call takes place and decision selection of respective method is carried out during the compilation. So now here, if I see simple program, method overloading, okay. What it is going to do, it is going to find the volume of objects here. Let's see how it is going to work for us. So this is a procedure oriented programming. I am not creating any class or object here, just a simple procedure oriented. Okay, main is present inside class begins here, class ends here. Name of the class is what? Overloading. Using system is included because it is namespace has to be included. Done. Now main is here and some functions I have written here. One, two, three functions I have. And you can see name of the function is volume. Name of the function is volume. Name of the function is volume. Function overloading. Name of the function is same. But parameters, number of parameters, their order, or there might the type might be different here. Therefore, you see here, this function, both are different here. Prototype different because though it is integer, it is double here. Okay, here one parameter, here there are two parameters. What about this? So like that, this volume is having different parameters all over. Prototype is totally different. Therefore, it is called a function overloading. Let us see in main what happened console dot write line volume. I am going to call a function. Immediately I can call a function here. Volume is equal to- ಏನಾತ್ರಿ
ಕೇಸದ್ ಪೈಂದನ್ ಗೌನ್ ಪಾಯ ಹಲವಾಲಿ ಇವಾಗ
ಯಾರು ಹೋದ್ರ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ काय हलवलीस का बाई पूजा नाईक त्या कोदरा तू पोरी आता volume. Okay, I'm passing only one parameter. Now, compiler is going to take decision here. Volume, same. Should I call this? Should I call this or should I call this? There is a conflict, confusion, dilemma state. Compiler will identify during the compilation process. For this particular statement, I have to call this particular function. That is called as compile time polymorphism. The decision is already taken by the compiler. Which statement is going to invoke which function, its decision is done. Therefore, it is called as compile time polymorphism. One more thing we are learning, virtual functions. That is called as runtime polymorphism. Okay, polymorphism in the sense, many forms, function name is same, but form is different. Their behavior is different. Okay, morphs in the sense behavior, morph, okay, nature. Pollen many behavior. So volume is name, same name, but it is behaving differently at different instances of time. Therefore, it is called as polymorphism. Same function is acting or behaving differently at different instances of time. Now, this volume function, this is invoked here. So it is behaving differently. It is working out with only one parameter. Okay. Now, compiler has already taken a decision. Once volume with only one argument is passed, this first function is going to be invoked. Okay, 10 is copied into x, and it is everything is multiplied by ALU. This statement is used to return. So return is the keyword which is going to return. This is substituted here, and that is printed. Is it right? So 10 into 10 into 10 is 1000. I think 1000 will be displayed here. Now, next statement, console write line volume. Again, I'm going to call a function, same function, volume. I'm not going to come over here. So because first is float, the second one is integer. Where it is? Is it here? No. Is it here? Yes, first one is float, second one is integer. Therefore, this and this, there is a match here, prototype match. So now, once prototype match here, compiler has already taken a decision for this particular second statement. I have to call this particular function. Okay, name is same, but their prototype is different. Only one number here, one number here, two number is there. First one is float, second one is float. Order is matched here. Okay, their number, their type, their order, everything is matched here. Done. This is invoked. So what I am doing is here 3.144 into R. Volume of what it is? It is a cylinder, right? You can see here. Volume of a cylinder can be calculated with this formula here. Pi r square h. Is it right? So this is volume of a cube. Object is different here. Okay. Therefore, for cube, only one parameter is required. For cylinder, two parameters required. For box it is 3D dimension, length, breadth, and height here. So therefore, here for this function, I am going to invoke not this, but this. The last one matches here. First one is wrong. Order is matched here. Second one is integer. Third one is integer. So this prototype matches here. Okay. If I write here 75.10, so prototype mismatches here. okay, because that will be float. It's not floated. So matching should be there in function overloading. So now this time I'm going to just multiply length breadth into height and I'm going to return here. So this is our simple program to demonstrate method overloading. Same function, volume, 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 but each function is having different prototype with respect to their data, order and numbers. So therefore, this decision is taken by the compiler well in advance during the process of compilation. Hence, it is also called as compile time polymorphism. Poly in the sense many, morphs in the sense forms, behavior. The same function is acting differently. Many forms, polymorphism done. Method overloading is used when methods are required to perform similar tasks. So I'm going to find volume here of box, volume of what? Cylinder, volume of what? Maybe rectangle. It goes here. So operation is same. So that time function overloading is used. Instead of giving volume 1, volume 2, volume 3 here, I just give same name, that's all. So readability improves here, that's all. That is the beauty of this function overloading. Okay, instead of finding new names everywhere for finding volume of different objects, I give same name, but prototype should be different. If two functions are having the same prototype, two functions having the same prototype, return type is same, name of the function is same, inside arguments, their order, type, and their number, if they are matching one another, you conflict here. Okay, there you find an error. You cannot do that. Therefore, so method overloading is when methods are required to perform similar tasks, finding value of some different, but using different input parameters. So for every volume here of objects here, parameters are different. One is integer, the second one is having two numbers, the third object is having three parameters. So like that, we use uh, function overloading. So let us see what is this operator overloading. Operator overloading in the sense operators are available, plus, minus. So these generally binary operators you can see here, plus, minus, multiplication. All these I can just overload these. I can give different meaning to this so that these operators can be used with classes or objects here which I have created, because these functions, sorry, these binary arithmetic operators are used for built-in data type. 10 plus 2 I can do. But say for example, I have two objects. One is C1, the other one is C2. C1 and C2 are complex objects here, complex number objects. C1 plus C2 I cannot do because computer is just understanding plus for integer, plus for float, something like that. But for adding two objects, this is not defined. So user or a programmer can define overload. Okay, one more different meaning I can give for plus, so that that plus operator can be used for objects or instances here. So these are the operators which can be overloaded. Okay, simply just remember if possible, if not, not required. Okay, so what operators can be overloaded? 1 or 2 9 binary operators. This can be overloaded. All these can be overloaded. Unary operators, plus, minus, plus, plus, minus. So these things can be done. Bitwise, these things you can do. All this. Only these two operators cannot be overloaded here. Operators that cannot be overloaded. Just if you remember remaining all operators, you can simply write it down. No problem. Only you just remember these two. Because operators we have already discussed in detail. Orlo ICDS. Okay. Arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, assignment operators, increment decrement operators, bitwise operators, Arla ICB Bantu. Yes, so the special operators in the size of all those things. Okay. So now logical operators cannot be overloaded. Simple thing. Okay, logical operators and logical or. These two only cannot be overloaded. ಇಷ್ಟೇ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊರಿ ಬಾಕಿದೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಉಳಿದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಆಮೇಲೆ compound statements such as this plus equal to. So these things cannot be overloaded. Remember, you cannot overload. Just remember these two operators. The rest you just put into this operators which can be overloaded. Okay. One is logical operator cannot be overloaded. That is logical and logical or ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಲಾಜಿಕಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಎರಡೇ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕಂಪೌಂಡ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದಷ್ಟು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ನಾನು ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಡೀಟೇಲ್ ಅವ್ನು ಕೇಳಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ಇರಲಿ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ. ಸೊ ನಾವು ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಸಿ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದಿದೆ ಅದರ್ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ದೀಸ್ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಓವರ್ಲೋಡ್. ಇದಷ್ಟು ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೈಜ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಪರೇಟರ್, ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇವಷ್ಟು ಮೂರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Square you cannot give a different meaning for that because it's predefined already for array handling here. This is for function, okay, usually. Okay, right line function, opening, closing. Wherever you come across opening and closing, it's a function here. Only that property is not here in opening and closing case. So this equal to sign assignment operator, you cannot change it here. Okay, you cannot overload it. Question mark. This is a conditional operator. Dot and question mark for this is also not used, and these special characters, new size of type of is as special operators cannot be overloaded. So now let us see here how that particular uh, overloading can be done. Let's see. To define an additional task to an operator, we must specify what it means in relation to the class, to which operator applied. Okay, this is done with the help of special method, that is operator method. We use special method, that is operator method here. Okay, general form. Let us see here. Name of the function is always remember operator. Okay, illೊಂದು keyword ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾನೆ operator ಅಂತ ಬರೀತಾನೆ, and then this is what the name of the function. So this OP is a function, but it is used for operator overloading. This operator keyword is to be preceded. Okay, name of the function. Before that, operator if I write, it means that OP is acting to work on objects. And what particular operator, actually OP ಅಂತ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, operator ಇರುತ್ತೆ, plus minus. This is the name of a function here, plus ಇರ್ಬೋದು minus. Is it right? Some other percentage symbol. Okay, this operator I write here, OP in the sense this is for operator symbol, remember. And that is acting as the name of a function here. And then a return type, it is all optional. It may return, it may not return. Okay, and then it is static and public. And then method before that, some argument list. It may have some argument or it may not. Optional again, everything is here. Let us see how we can overload a unary operator. Okay, A is equal to minus 10 or A is equal to minus B if I write. What happened? The content of B is 10. What happened? Minus 10 under A is equal to minus 10. So that minus is acting as what? Unary. Unary in the sense the operator which is associated with only one operand. That's all. Let us see a very simple program considering complex, and here it is class my client. This is okay. This is a simple class here. Okay, always start understanding your program from main. Illinda start ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Okay. Though we write all the class definition here on the top, but compilation always begins from main. Therefore, we start from here. So in this complex, one is imaginary part, the other one is a real part. The two parts are there. Okay, x plus iy form. Complex number ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿರ್ಬೋದು ಬಹುಶಃ. ಅದೇನು ಡಿಟೇಲ್ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಏನು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಒಂದು ನಂಬರ್ದೊಳಗೆ ಎರಡು ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ, ಒಂದು ರಿಯಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್. ಮುಗೀತು. ರಿಯಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನ್ರಿ, ಇಮ್ಯಾಜಿನರಿ ಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೇಳಕತ್ತರ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಕ್ ಬರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದನ್ನ ಏನು ಸ್ಟಡಿ that complex number and that usage is here. Okay, some square root value you cannot find here. That we consider it as complex numbers here. Okay, square root of minus can you calculate now? That here. Let us see. Here C1 is one instance or a variable. Okay, of what type it is? It is not integer, it is not float, it is not character, but it is complex type. What it is complex? Complex is a class. Where is the class? Class is here. Okay. What is class? Class is considering both data and functions which are going to act on the data here. Both data and functions are wrapped together as a class here. ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಮುಗಿತಲ್ಲ. ಏನು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ದೊಡ್ಡದು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಓಕೆ, ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ದಾಗ ಡೇಟಾ ಐತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಇರ್ತಾವೆ. ರೀಡ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿರ್ಬೋದು ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್, ರೈಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಏನಾದರೂ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಎದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋ, ಅದು ಡೇಟಾ ಮೆಂಬರ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡೋ. So therefore both data and functions, they are going hand in hand, and that wrapped up into a single entity, that's called as class. Simple. So what is this class? Class is consisting members. What are those members here? X and Y. As I told you, complex number, it does have two parts. One is real part, the other one is. So one part I call it as X integer, the other one is Y. Done. Let us see. Now this is complex. This is the name. This is also class. Both are same. Now it is called as default constructor. Sorry, default constructor. If any object is created without anything here, automatically that particular function is invoked here. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಬರೀಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ನಡೀತೈತೆ. It's not required. Even if you write it here, you can delete it here, no problem. But internally, that is automatically taken into consideration. Default constructor. Done here. Next one. One more constructor. So it is parameterized constructor because there are two parameters. This is default constructor, whereas it is parameterized constructor. Finish. So now what happened here, once I create this C1 with this 10 and 20, so complex 10 and 20 is here. 10 and 20, 10 is copied to I, 20 is copied to J. Okay, both I and J are temporary variables here. Okay, they are stored into some stack here. Done. Now this I value, that is 10, is copied to X. So therefore, constructors are used to initialize the data. So X and Y both are initialized. So X is equal to how much? 10. Y is equal to how much? 20. So therefore, constructors are used to initialize the data members soon after the object is created. Once the object is created, the value of C1 and C2 are initialized. C1 is consisting C1 dot X, C1 dot Y. C1 dot X is equal to 10. C1 dot Y is equal to 20. That is what you have to understand here. Okay. C1 is not alone. It is having two data members. It is defined here. The structure is defined. Something like this. It has got some structure. ಅದ್ರಾಗ ಏನದಪ್ಪ ಎರಡು ಅದಾವ ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವೈ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಇಂಟೀಜರ್ ವೈ ಇಂಟೀಜರ್ ಸೊ ದೇರ್ ಫಾರ್ C1 dot X is equal to 10, C1 dot Y is equal to 20. Remember that. So now I'm going to call one more function here, show xy. So C1 is what type? C1 is complex type. So complex is C1 is consisting x, y, and C1 does have some three properties associated with this, which is defined here inside. So it is associated with one default constructor. C1 is also associated with one parameter constructor. C1 also associates with this function. So C1 have both data and functions related to wrapped up within itself. So now what happens here, I am going to call show here. Show I'm just displaying here the value of show. Right. Okay, this is how it is displayed. Last time I discussed about this parameter. Opening and inside 0. First parameter. This is 0th parameter. This is first parameter. If I have one more here, Z, 3 parameters like the percentage D, percentage D, percentage D ಅಂತ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. CLE. If I want to display only two values of integer, percentage E, percentage ಮುಗಿತು. If I want to print 3 parameters, C program. First is integer, second one is float, the third one is character. I want to display. How do I do that? Percentage D, second parameter percentage A, third one C. So instead of that here, what I do is I just use this here. In parameter Z. I just write it here like this. That is second one. So always it starts with 0 here. That is what you have to remember. Because now I have only two arguments to be displayed. Therefore, two format specifiers required. First 0th parameter is X. First parameter is Y. Okay, this is 0th parameter. Remember, finish. So value of X is substituted here, that is displayed. Value of Y is substituted in this format specifier, that is 20 is displayed. Finish. I return back here. Now again I am creating one more method. What is that? C2. C2 is complex type. So therefore C2 is consisting X and Y and some constructors. One is default constructor, one is parameterized constructor, one more it's function, that is show function. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು function ಇದೆ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಯಾವುದು ಇದೆ. This is what basically special function here, that is called as operator overloading, because this is minus here which is preceded with the keyword that is operator. Therefore I am going to overload this minus so that this minus operator can act on C1 and C2, because C1 and C2 are not an ordinary. It is not integer, it is not data, it is not a character, but it is class type. Therefore I am going to give different meaning to this minus so that it can operate on class here, which program is defining. So this is what operator. So operator overloading is done. How that is done? Let us see here. So C2 I have created. What happens? It is default constructor. It is not having any parameters. So therefore this is invoked here. This invoked is not initialize anything. Okay. Therefore as X and Y are initialized to integer type, they are initialized to 0, because by default integer value is 0 0. Last time I think discussed here. So therefore X and Y are 0 0. Now let us see I'm going to show that. Or I'm going to call a function show xy, but this time I'm going to call a function show xy associated with second object C2. So therefore, it displays 0 and 0 because x and y of C2 are initialized to 0, 0 by default constructor. Okay, done. Now, C2 is equal to minus C1. What is this C1? C1 is object. It has got some x, it has got some y. And now, here it is having minus sign. This is unary operator. This operator is not associated with two variables or two instances. It is associated with only one instance here. Therefore, it is called as unary. Unary stands for one. Binary stands for two. Bi stands for two. Uni stands for one. Processor, single processor. Biprocessor, two processor. Okay. If there are four processor, quad processor. Okay. Like that it goes. If there are six processors, hexa processor. If there are eight, octo, it goes here. So like that unary stands for one, that's all. So what happens here automatically, this minus operator is associated with now C1 here, object it is. So you have to give special meaning for that so that this can act on. So now how this definition is done? This is definition is done by programmer. This is what the definition of that unary operator done here. Definition in the sense what that particular function is going to do for us. You are going to write some instruction in it. That is called the definition of a function. So now automatically compiler comes here because minus is the symbol associated with what object, and this is preceded with the keyword that is operated. Therefore, special meaning is done. So the content of C1 is automatically copied here. You will not internally copy the backend. It's what argument you have to write here. C1 is copied by default internally here. So C is consisting its x and y, and now the content of C1 x and what is that? 10 and 20. 10 and 20 will be copied to C here. Now, one temporary complex number I'm taking here because I'm going to change and then I'm returning it here. Okay. C1 is consisting 10 and 20. If I do some activity in such a way that the content of x and y of C should be changed, that is minus 10, minus 20. So that is a simple thing here. One more temporary complex object I have created. So temp.x, temp.y is created. And then what happened? Temp.x is equal to c.x. What is that c here? C is consisting both x and y. C.x is 10. So it is minus 10 now. So c.x is 10. So now it is minus 10 is copied to this temporary x here because temporary is also complex type. So temp is also having y here. Therefore, that temp y, what I do, I simply change that sign here, minus sign, unary operator. So c dot x and c dot y are having 10 and 20. Now making use of unary operator, I will just change that sign here. So now temp I am going to return. Complete object is returning. So therefore, return type is complex type. So this is return type. This is the keyword operator which is going to be, overloaded. And then and data must be here inside. Okay, default argument here. If you miss this here, you may not do that. Okay, then usually all the time it is static and public here. Just remember. Okay, operator overloaded functions are always static and public. This is also one more note. So now I'm returning temp. So I once I return that here, this is replaced. Okay, it is returning temp. What is the temp consisting x and y? Both are minus 10 and minus 20 here. That is directly assigned to this C2. So now C2, I am going to show that content. Okay. C2 is consisting x, that is equal to minus 10. C2 is consisting y, that is equal to minus 20. This is how it is displayed. Okay, the ಇದೆಲ್ಲ output ಬರೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಇರಲಿ. That's all, it is sufficient. Done. So this is how unary operator. If any question asks for 5 marks, what is function overloading and demonstrative unary operator overloading. This is a simple complex numbers. Two complex numbers you take, C1 and C2, one you initialize, and the other one you just change it here. Fine, by using this special function that is operator function here. Okay, operator function. Okay, done here. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಕಿಷ್ಟು. Okay, tomorrow we shall see binary plus operator. Again, we consider the same complex numbers here. For two complex number, I'm going to add it here. So this is what operator overloading. So guys, I think today we'll finish. Only 11 members are there. Let me conclude. Goodbye guys. Bye.